Hey guys, what's up? It's Karina. And today I would want to talk about something that has been brought up to me a few different times, and on over the last few years, I've had several people ask me what 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 meds that I've been on so far as like psychotropic or any antidepressants, because they don't see how I can be so cheery and happy and and willing willing to do life. Considering the fact that I've been through some pretty heinous stuff in my life, and I was experiencing depression for about 25 or so years. And what I can tell you is that the most memorable time that anyone asked me was one time when I was living in the Oakland Bay Area, and I was working with a guy who was severely depressed. He was in a pretty bad way. He still living with his parents, and he had a boyfriend who he cared about, but he wasn't really meshing with him, and he was working as a temp like myself, but he wasn't really happy with life. So one time, let's call him Chris. I don't remember his name, honestly. His name was Chris, and we were taking a bus or a train, and he asked me about my life, and I told him, yeah, I've been at that point I had been sober maybe 3 months, and I told him that I had battled a pretty crazy bout with depression over the course of 20 plus years. I wasn't diagnosed, but I can look back at the symptoms and see how badly off I was. And I had I gone to a psychologist or a psychiatrist, it was pretty easily could have been diagnosed as clinical depression. So what he asked me, he said, "What meds are you on? Like, what pill are you taking that's got you this happy after you've been depressed for such a long time?" And I was never on any meds. I was never on any pills, and I'll tell you why. I did the research. I did the research beforehand, before even thinking about going to a shrink or a psychologist or a counselor. I did the research, and I found out the truth about these antidepressants. I found out that the way our minds work when it comes to highs and lows, there's an ebb and a flow. They go like this, right? You have the capability to have some really high highs and the capability to have some really low lows. But what a majority of these meds do is they cap you off. You're not able to feel the highs, but also you're not able to feel the lows, which is fine if you don't want to feel what you're capable of feeling. And I knew that if I were to feel things, it would hurt. I know that. I knew that from the beginning. And I knew that if it was something that I was going to want to feel, it was going to have to be some other way that's different from taking any sort of meds. Because I also had a few friends, one in particular, who I cherish and adore. I love this girl. She's amazing. But at one time, when I went, the one time in particular, one particular time that I knew her, um, she was on these meds, and it was heartbreaking because she was an amazing girl, but because of the meds, she couldn't get out of bed. she was laying in bed all day and watching TV and hanging out with her cats and smoking. And it broke my heart because I remember what a love of life she had beforehand. There were some situations that happened in her life that led up to her being in that predicament. But I also knew that she was taking these meds, these drugs that were affecting her mind, and and I did not want to be like that. And I saw that firsthand. I saw her day in and day out, and I saw what these drugs were doing to her, and it made my very good friend into a zombie. Um, Fortunately, she's not like that anymore. But the times that I knew her through that period, it was heartbreaking, and I didn't want that to be me. I didn't want those zombie like characteristics to be prevalent in my life. So what I ended up doing was going to counseling, going to a Christ-based counseling program, and I went through a 12-step program, and I worked and I worked and I worked hard at at beating this depression that I knew was there because I didn't want to feel this way anymore. And I was open to the idea of eventually, if the counseling and the 12 step did not work, I was open to maybe taking these suggestions from a psychiatrist and possibly taking the meds. But I knew that there was something that I could do to to um, to beat those feelings of suicidality, to beat those feelings of just wanting to stay in bed all day and filling my life, attempting to fill my life's void with things that weren't healthy for me. I knew that there had to be a way out of it. Now, I'm not knocking those people who are taking meds and those people who do actually need it, but I am saying that for those people who are, I encourage you to to work on yourself and work on on improving your life, facing your demons, facing the hurt, being open to the pain, being open to feeling the feelings of sadness, feeling the feelings of of joy, feeling the feelings of possibly even heartbreak, but being open and willing to do the work that it takes to be able to handle it better than to just take these meds. Um, I'm not going to say it's all in your head because people who say that, I don't 100% agree with that. Sometimes it is in your head, but at the same time, people just don't know how to cope. Or sometimes there is a chemical imbalance, and those are the ones that I'm talking about. The people that do have a chemical imbalance um, may not have a way to fix that. And and I just encourage people to do their research and do their work towards feeling better. Um, if a parent or a loved one died, then it's understandable that you might need a little pick me up, need a little help to keep from feeling like you're gonna die as well or that you want to die as well. So I understand that, but I totally encourage people who don't genuinely have a chemical imbalance to work on themselves, to work on self improvement, self development, to know that they themselves are worth more than what those drugs are doing to them. To surround yourself with people who love you and build that core back up again because you are worth it. You are more than that zombie feeling that you were getting from these drugs. And I I've seen it happen to a very close friend of mine, and it sucks and it hurts my heart to even think that there's other people out there that are going through the same thing. But you know, I went through years of abuse and years of depression, and I know that there was a way out, and there's a way to get rid of that feeling, and you know that you are loved, and there will always be someone there who is willing to listen, even if you just have to pick up the phone and talk to somebody. As painful as it may be, there will always be someone there to listen to you. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you soon. Have a wonderful weekend. Talk